Welcome to Flow. Let's get started. Today we'll start off in a cross-legged position. Bring your hands to rest on your knees with your palms pointing down or pointing up. Maybe allow your eyes to close or find a soft gaze. And just start to bring your focus and your awareness to your breath. Feel the expansion of your rib cage and belly with every inhale. And with every exhale, feel your belly deflate. Let your spine grow a little bit longer. Feel your hips rooted and grounded down into your mat. Start to unravel your feet. Bring your feet so they're flat to the ground. And then bring your hands to hook behind your thighs. You take an upright cat-cow. On your inhale, pull your chest between your legs. And on your exhale, find a contraction. Bring your chin to your chest and bring your knees together. And continue to move through these two positions. Just starting to find a little more fluidity through your spine. Inhale, bring your chest forward, open the legs. Exhale, close your legs and contract your chin to chest. And just continue to move and find that match of breath to movement. And let's say we do this one more time. Take one more set. Bring yourself back to neutral. And then bring your right hand behind your right hip and bring your left elbow into your chest. Now press down into your right hand and take a variation of this one-arm tabletop. And then lower your hips and we switch sides. So the left hand comes down, the right elbow comes in. Press down into your feet to lift your hips up. And then with control, lower down. We're gonna do that 2 more times each side. Press down into your right hand, lift up through the hips. And then slowly lower the hips down. Switch over to the left, bring your left hand back. Press the hips up, open through the front of the body. And then slowly, gently lower the hips down. Last time, each side. Just finding a little more openness into the chest and the shoulder. Slowly lower, and we move to the opposite side. Left hand comes down. Press your hips up, lift up through your heart. And then slowly lower back down. Move around to an all-fours tabletop position. Bring your shoulders right over your wrists and your hips over your knees. Extend your right leg back long behind you and then swivel your left ankle so you're coming into a modified side plank. Now keep your left arm down, reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. Feel this nice openness through your chest space. And then take the right arm up overhead so you can really feel that length from your right fingertips all the way to the outer edge of your right foot. Breathe into this space and this length. And then slowly bring yourself up. Turn your right toes so they're out to the side and start to bend into your right knee. This might take a little bit of movement through the foot and the knee. Start to bring your right hand inside of your right foot, or if it's more comfortable, bring your right forearm onto your right thigh and reach your left arm up towards the ceiling. I call this a pirate pose. From here, start to pulse your right knee forwards and backwards, just about a 2-inch range of motion. We're starting to feel a little or maybe a lot more opening into the right inner thigh. If you need to kickstand your back toes for a little bit more support, you can find that for yourself. Give yourself about 5 pulses and then stamp down into your right foot and reverse this so the left arm will come down and the right arm will come up overhead. Feel that length again along your right side and then slowly rotate back down to the mat. Little transition here, swivel your left knee under, extend your right leg back long behind you. It's a variation of a half pigeon. It's meant to get a little bit deeper into your right hip flexor. The more upright you can bring your torso, the deeper you'll feel this stretch through the front of your right hip flexor. Breathe here. Maybe you open your chest and find a little more of a back bend while walking the fingertips back towards your back foot. Slowly transition, crawl your hands back forward. Flip your back toes and find a 3-legged dog. Bring your left leg up into the air and then bend your left knee and open your hip. Maybe you roll out through the ankle or the knee if that feels good, just finding a little bit of movement. And then move yourself back to a downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here in this downward facing dog. Try to energize your heels to the mat. And come down to tabletops. We switch to the opposite side. Extend your left leg back long behind you, and then swivel your back right ankle, so we're coming into a modified side plank. Keep the right arm down, reach the left arm up overhead. And now stretch your left fingertips up over your ear, and then feel the energy that you can press into the outer edge of your left foot. So you're making a really nice long line from your left fingertips all the way to the outer edge of your left foot. Now slowly start to bring yourself up, turn your left toes out, and bend into your left knee, coming into this pirate pose. You might need to shorten your stance slightly. You can bring your left elbow onto your left thigh, or you can reach your hand down in front of your left foot. Reach your right arm up towards the ceiling and try to roll your heart space up in that direction. And then start to pulse your left knee so it goes forward towards your toes and back. Teeny little pulses here. Feel the activation of your elbow or your tricep into your knee, and that allows your knee to really track over your toes and get a little bit of a deeper opening into your left inner thigh. And keep just gently sliding yourself forwards and backwards into the stretch. And after you've taken that about 5 times, bring yourself upright by pressing down into your left foot, and then keep this motion going. Bring the right arm down, reach the left arm up and over, but press down into your left foot so you can feel even more length all along the left side. Breathe here. And now slowly transition so the left hand will come down to the ground, and then you can slide your right knee between your hands and lower your hips down to the ground. Try to get your back leg as straight as you can behind you, and then the taller you can sit in your torso, the more of an opening you're going to feel through the front of your left hip flexor. Breathe here. Maybe your fingers go a little further back, maybe your chest lifts up a little bit higher. Keep those breaths moving. And then walk your hands forward, flip your back toes, find a 3-legged dog with your right leg up into the air. Bend your right knee, open your hip, maybe take some movement in the ankle or the knee. And then slowly bring yourself back to your downward facing dog. On your next inhale, reach your right leg up high. And now step your right foot so it comes outside of your right hand. You're kind of in this wider lunge position. And take a few moments here just to rock back and forth. Try to keep your back knee lifted up off the mat. And find a little more activation into your back foot as well. Nice opening through your front right hamstring and hip. Now rotate this lunge into a wide-legged forward fold. So you'll rotate all of your toes to point towards the left side of your mat into your wide-legged forward fold. And just allow yourself to hang heavy through your head. Try to find some release through the jaw, through the shoulders. Slowly start to transition into a side lateral lunge. Turn out your left foot. Send your hips back. Try to turn out through your right hip as well. Turned out lunge, getting much deeper into the inner thighs. Now transfer this to the opposite side. Move through kind of this wide second grand plie and move over towards the right into a lunge. And we're going to continue to take this side to side, kind of this low spider movement. You really want to feel as you shift that your knees are pointing out to the side. Your hips are staying as low as you can. You can use your hands to help you out here. And then one more time, shift yourself over to the left. Take a moment of breath here, and then slowly transfer yourself back to a parallel lunge on your right foot. So you can rotate all of your toes. Find 3-legged dog, reach your right leg up into the air, bend your right knee, open the hip, and find downward facing dog. We set all that up on the second side. Inhale, lift your left leg high. And now step your left foot so it comes outside of your left hand, and you're moving into this kind of wider lunge. You can take a few moments to rock back and forth. Feel a nice opening into your left hip, even moving up into the hamstring. And breathe here. And now slowly transition so all of your toes are pointing over to the right side of your mat in a wide-legged forward fold. And take a few breaths here. Just let yourself hang nice and heavy through the head, through the neck. And now turn out through both of your legs and bend into your right knee for this turned out lunge. Make sure that your left knee, your left toes are pointing straight up towards the ceiling. Let your hips be low. Breathe here. And now use your hands to help you as you crawl yourself over to the opposite side. And just as we did on the first side, we're just going to continue to switch, moving right and left. Try to keep your knees open to the side to get a little bit deeper into your inner thigh. Finding a little more opening into the groin and the hip. And let's say from here we take once more to the left, moving nice and slow. And then once more to the right. Bring your gaze back towards your left foot. Crawl yourself forward for a turned in low lunge position. Press down into your hands, find a three-legged dog, and then bend your left knee and open your hip. And move back to downward facing dog. Slowly lower your knees all the way down to the ground. We're going to open up into a frog pose. This is a pretty intense inner thigh and hip opener. Bring your forearms down to the ground and start to walk your knees away from each other and start to send your hips between your legs. Now, if you're on a wood floor, it can be helpful if you're wearing pants so your pants can kind of slide on the wood. Otherwise, you have to kind of walk your knees away from each other. It's helpful also to flex your feet and then think of your hips going back towards your heels. And again, this can be pretty intense. If you need to bring yourself out of this at any time, feel free to do that. We're here for about 10 more big breaths. With every exhale, let your torso sink a little bit heavier. Imagine that your hips get a little bit heavier as well. When we slowly start to come out of this, bring your hands underneath your shoulders, press yourself up and start to walk your knees in towards each other. Give yourself a few moments and then roll around to sit. We're going to take a stretch for the outer glutes now. We've done the inner thighs. We're moving to the outer glutes. Double pigeon pose. Bend your left knee and then stack your right shin on top of your left shin. Now this is a pretty serious hip opener. If you need to straighten that bottom leg, you can. If you've got a lot of space underneath your top knee like I do, that's okay. You can keep yourself in an upright position or you can crawl your hands forward. We're going to be here for about 5 big breaths. And just use your breath as a tool to get yourself a little bit deeper into the hip opener. And now slowly start to bring yourself out of this. Walk your hands back towards your hips. Unravel your feet. Bring your feet so they're flat to the ground, a little bit wider. And then just start to windshield wiper your knees from side to side. This is a nice little release for the lower back. And it's a great way to get a little internal rotation through the hip, which we don't do too often. Take this about 5 or so times. And then we're going to move right away to the opposite side. So bring your right shin down to the ground, flex your right foot, and stack your left shin over your right. And again, if you've got a little bit of space underneath your top knee, that's completely fine. Plug down through your butt bones, sit up nice and tall. Option to stay right here in an upright position, or if you'd like, you can start to release yourself forwards. Nice and gentle. It's good to do a little bit of counter stretching after we got so deep into the inner thighs. We want to pay attention to this part of the hip as well. Use your breath as a tool here. Every exhale, allow yourself to go a little bit deeper. And now slowly start to bring yourself up. Unravel your feet, and then once again bring your feet so they're flat to the ground, and then just start to find that windshield wiper through your knees, just letting them fall one way and the other. And you can find a little bit of a lean back through the upper body. Getting a little more focused onto internal rotation. And then bring yourself back to center. Bring your feet so they're flat. Press down into your hands and find a reverse tabletop. Lift your hips up into the air. Option to drop the head here. Open through the chest, open through the throat. And then with control, gently lower your hips back down to the ground. Bend your knees, bring your hands behind your thighs, and slowly roll yourself all the way down to the ground. Bring the bottoms of your feet together, open your knees wide. Bring one hand to your belly, one hand to your heart. Allow your eyes to close or find a soft gaze. And bring your focus and your awareness back inward to the movement of your breath. Notice and acknowledge any shifts you might feel physically, particularly in your hips. Send breath and attention into that area. Thank you for joining us today. And that's your flow.